Here are the top stories for today, June 4, 2019. President Duterte certifies as urgent the bill implementing mandatory ROTC training in senior high school. The latest SWS survey shows 44% of Filipinos claim to be very happy in the first quarter of 2019. A task force in Davao shuts down 14 suspected fraudulent investment schemes. And Filipino Muslims prepare for a grand celebration signaling the end of Ramadan on June 5.
Good day. I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte certified as urgent on Monday a bill imposing mandatory ROTC from grades 11 and 12 in public and private schools. In a letter addressed to Senate President Vicente Soto III, the President called for the immediate passage of Senate Bill number 2232 or the Senior High School Reserve Officers Training Corps Act. He said this will restore basic military and leadership training for the youth, invigorate their sense of nationalism and patriotism, and further promote their vital role in nation building. At least 100 public and private high schools nationwide will be part of the two-year pilot program for the proposed mandatory military training. The Senate on Monday approved on third and final reading a measure seeking to increase the excise taxes on tobacco products. With 20 affirmative votes and no negative vote, the upper chamber passed Senate Bill number 2233, seeking an increase in excise tax for every cigarette pack from 45 to 60 pesos for the next 4 years. A 5% yearly hike shall also be imposed effective January 1st, 2024. The bill seeks to reduce smoking prevalence among Filipinos and to generate additional funding for the government's universal health care program. The bill was passed after President Duterte certified the measure as urgent. Duterte said the bill will maintain a broader fiscal space to support the effective implementation of the Universal Health Care Act. As the Philippines strengthens its policies on sin taxes, Iloilo City has been recognized for its efforts to cut down tobacco use and lead users to a healthy lifestyle. Rom Dulfo has the story.
The World Health Organization has named Iloilo City as one of the recipients of the 2019 World No Tobacco Day Awards for its outstanding work in tobacco control. In a statement on May 30, the WHO Western Pacific region recognized Iloilo for providing cessation services and protecting minors from the harmful effects of tobacco use. An intensive campaign was launched encouraging smokers to quit with the help of the city's Quit Line. Tobacco products are banned to minors and not allowed near schools and other places frequented by minors. The city government also enacted bans on vaping and shisha except on designated smoking areas. The WHO also lauded the implementation of a non-smoker preferential policy in hiring city government employees, the introduction of additional tax for the sale of cigarettes, and increased penalties for violations. Other recipients of the 2019 World No Tobacco Day Awards include the Xi'an Municipal People's Government in China, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, the Guam Non-Communicable Disease Consortium Tobacco Control Action Team, and the new Ministry of Social Services. The WHO and its global partners celebrate World No Tobacco Day every May 31st to increase awareness of the negative impact of tobacco. It also advocates effective policies in reducing tobacco consumption and engage stakeholders across multiple sectors in the fight for tobacco control. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The House of Representatives on Monday approved on third and final reading the Human Rights Defenders Protection Bill. House Bill 9199 seeks to prevent human rights violations and abuses perpetrated against human rights defenders. House Bill number 9199 guarantees HRD rights and freedoms, mandates the state and public authorities to respect, protect, and fulfill these rights and freedoms, and imposes appropriate sanctions to counter impunity. HB 9199 is based on the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights Defenders and the Model National Law on the Recognition and Protection of Human Rights Defenders. Albay 1st District Representative Edsel Lagman, the bill's principal author, is hoping that the bill's Senate counterpart can also be approved before the 17th Congress adjourns. President Duterte approves the sale of Marcos jewels. Meanwhile, the COMELEC seeks to finish the random manual audit of the midterm elections by Thursday. More on these and other news around the metro from Benj Bondo.
President Rodrigo Duterte has formally issued an order for the public auction of the 704.8 million peso jewelry collection seized from former First Lady and now Ilocos Norte Representative Imelda Romualdez Marcos. Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea said the Office of the President interposes no objections to the proposed activities relative to the disposal of the Marcos jewelry collections, subject to compliance with existing laws, rules, and regulations. Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections is looking to finish the random manual audit of the 2019 midterm elections by Thursday. COMELEC says only 80 out of 715 sample precincts all over the country are left to be audited as of Sunday, and that overvotes, undervotes, as well as incomplete and misplaced shades are also tallied. In other news, the PNP has yet to decide whether it will reinstate the police protection granted to radio personality Erwin Tulfo and the rest of his family. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde said it depends on the review to be made by the Police Security Protection Group. He, however, said Tulfo's behavior, particularly to government officials, as shown in his recent spat with DSWD Secretary Rolando Bautista, was a factor in the pull-out of his security detail. Tulfo has already made 2 public apologies over the incident. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
Still to come, the latest SWS survey show 44% of Filipinos claim to be very happy in the first quarter of 2019. A task force in Davao shuts down 14 suspected fraudulent investment schemes. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
We are here because we are celebrating the triumph of peace over lawlessness. At kami po dito, ang Task Force namin Marawi, ang ating mandato na ibinigay ng ating Presidente ay to ensure that Marawi will rise as a prosperous city again.
Questions or inquiries, we also have our engineers available here, so you can approach them in the center of the Marawi affected area.
Sa eksaktong ikalawang anibersaryo ng Marawi Siege, nandito tayo mismo sa gitna ng Rizal Park o yung ground zero or most affected area dito sa Marawi. Hindi may kakaila na bakas pa rin ang giyera, pero hindi rin maitatanggi na malaki na ang pinagbago o marami na ang ipinakitang pagbangon ng Marawi. Nasa likuran ko nga ang demolisyon at sa kaliwa ko rin yung demolisyon ng mga debris o mga iniwan ng giyera. At kanina-kanina lamang ay dinaanan naman natin yung konstruksyon ng bagong tulay na mag-uugnay sa most affected area at sa city proper ng Marawi.
The latest social weather station survey released on Monday showed that more Filipinos consider themselves very happy in the first quarter of 2019. Based on the survey, 44% of Filipinos consider their lives to be very happy. This is a 5-point increase from 39% in the last quarter of 2018. The number of Filipinos who consider themselves fairly happy with their lives also slightly increased by 1 point to 49% in March of 2019. Likewise, the number of Filipinos who consider themselves unhappy declined to 8% from 11% in December 2018. Meanwhile, the number of Filipinos who are very satisfied with their lives reached 37% in March 2019. Those who are fairly satisfied were 53%, while those who are unsatisfied with their lives are at 11%. Another oil price rollback took effect this morning, Tuesday. Prices of unleaded gasoline were reduced by 1 peso and 70 centavos per liter. Diesel was slashed by 1 peso and 5 centavos per liter, and those carrying kerosene dialed its price back by 1 peso per liter. Oil firms earlier announced over the weekend that they will implement significant reductions in local pump prices. This price adjustment follows the 35 centavo per liter reduction on gasoline and 45 centavo cut in diesel implemented last May 28. Oil executives explained that this week's price rollback only reflects that latest movements in the international crude market, which local oil firms are passing on to the Filipino consumer. Positive investor sentiment boosted both the Philippine peso, which firmed up to the 51 level against the greenback. The local unit ended this week's first day trading with 51.91 from 52.16 Friday last week. Union Bank Chief Economist Carlo Asuncion attributed the peso's strength to slower inflation rate for May. The rate of price increases continued to decelerate, with last April's figure down to 3% from months ago 3.3%. Asuncion explained that further drop of domestic inflation rate may prompt monetary officials to cut anew key policy rates after the 25 basis points reduction last May 9, with the reverse repurchase rate now at 4.5%. For the day, the peso opened on an improved level of 52.15 from previous sessions 52.228. Let us take a look at the latest foreign exchange rate. Fourteen suspected fraudulent financial investment schemes have been shut down by an interagency task force led by the Police Regional Office in Davao. The 14 companies will be placed under investigation until their sham investments are proven or until they complete the requirements set by the government. Police Regional Office in Davao on Monday said that most of these schemes were discovered in Tagum City. These companies are said to offer large interest within a short period of time to those who will invest a certain amount of money. The Interagency Task Force to Prevent Fraudulent Investment Schemes was created during the 257th Regional Law Enforcement Coordinating Council meeting. It vows to go after more fraudulent investment schemes as they expand their operations in Tagum City and in Davao del Norte and Davao del Sur. Government efforts to provide quality education all over the country has not been put to waste as provinces experience a smooth opening of classes on Monday. While some schools still lack facilities, more projects are underway to ensure a more conducive learning. Janice Cave rounds up the opening of classes in the provinces.
In Bicol region, the school opening was smooth and peaceful despite the lack of classrooms amid the high number of enrollees. The region welcomed some 1.83 million learners, yet there are only about 58,000 classrooms being used. DepEd Bicol is expecting 2,535 classrooms to be completed for this year by the Department of Public Works and Highways. In Western Visayas, classes opened smoothly although there were reports of late enrollees. DepEd attributed the smooth class opening to the various preparations undertaken by the schools, such as the Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela. Some 2 million pupils and students are expected to troop to various public schools in the region starting on June 3. In Mindanao, the first day of classes in Soc-Sargen has been peaceful and orderly, with policemen managing traffic and providing security to students and teachers. No reported untoward incidents in all schools on the first day of the school year. PRO 12 Director Brigadier General Elise Rasco has commended all police personnel deployed even to the remotest public schools in the region for a job well done. In Davao Region, DepEd hailed the opening of classes after learners obtained perfect attendance. DepEd attributed the smooth opening of classes to the success of Brigada Eskwela. A total of 1.42 million learners from kindergarten to senior high school students in Davao Region are expected for this school year. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, mango growers seek help from the Agriculture Department in disposing its 2 million kilo produce surplus. Filipino Muslims prepare for a grand celebration signaling the end of Ramadan on June 5. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Nandito ako ngayon sa Barangay Sagunsungan. Itong barangay na ito ay tinatag para lamang sa mga internally displaced residents or persons dahil nga sa Marawi Siege. Nasa mahigit 1,100 na mga pamilya ang nakatira dito sa Barangay Sagunsungan. Parang normal na yung kanilang pamumuhay dito. May mga tinayong mga temporary shelters, may mga paninda rin sila dito, may mga mosque, may mga ginagawang medical missions ang gobyerno at meron ding mga nakadestino dito na mga social services. Pero sabi nga ng mga nakausap natin dito, iba pa rin yung buhay sa kanilang mga permanenteng tirahan. Kaya isa raw sa kanilang inaasahan at pinapangarap ay ang mabilisang pagbangon ng Marawi at nang makabalik sila sa kanilang permanenteng tirahan.
That the situation is not as easy as it seems, that after the destruction you can rebuild immediately. One must understand the complexity of the situation and the challenges being confronted by government in rehabilitating Marawi City. And I do hope that with the tour that we had given for them, they will understand the situation of the government. The tour of the international media, I think, is very welcome and very successful.
This press tour was a very good experience, especially because for those of us who cannot organize all of these different speakers, resource people in one shot, especially when you're trying to write a story about a significant event like the anniversary of Marawi and the siege. It's very convenient that the PCO does it for us.
Napakapagod ang may ganitong pagpangin, no? Dahil at least nalalaman ng buong mundo na hindi naman yung mga kwento-kwento na Marawi City is a ghost city. Ngayon ho, nakikita naman natin na bumabalik sa normal ang ating mga kababayan na na-displaced.
And at the end of the day, we are committed to rehabilitate Marawi City based on the instruction of our president who said he would like to see that Marawi will rise as a prosperous city again. And that's what we will do as the one being given that mandate of rehabilitating Marawi City.
Spurred by an overpopulation of around 2 million kilos of mangoes in Luzon alone, the Department of Agriculture, or DA, will launch on June 10th the Metro Mango Marketing Program to help farmers unload their produce. In a press briefing on Monday, Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol revealed that mango growers have requested for DA's assistance in selling their harvest as the price of the commodity has dropped to as low as 10 pesos per kilo due to overproduction. The farmers attributed the unusual increase in their harvest this year to the El Niño phenomenon. Piñol said Mangoes of export-grade quality will be sold at the DA Central Office in Quezon City at 50 pesos per kilo. Mango growers have committed to deliver some 100 tons per week. Meanwhile, an investigation is underway due to the alleged importation of mangoes from Cambodia and other countries. Piñol said it is hurting the mango industry and that our local farmers are willing to sell their mango produce at break-even price of 20 pesos a kilo. Based on the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA, Ilocos region led the country with 51,824 metric tons, or 54.6% to the country's total mango production. Central Luzon with 16.5% and Western Visayas with 6.8% of total harvest in the Philippines. In Cotabato City, the Bangsamoro Grand Mufti has declared June 5 as the celebration for Eid'l Fitr, marking the official end of the month-long fasting period of Ramadan for the Muslim faithful. According to Grand Mufti Abu Huraira Udasan, the crescent moon was not seen by clerics across the region, so the end of Ramadan would be on nighttime of June 4 and Eid'l Fitr celebration on June 5. Eid'l Fitr is the festival of breaking the fast that marks the end of Ramadan. It depends on the sighting of the crescent moon based on the Islamic lunar calendar, indicating the beginning of a new month. Meanwhile, Mayor Francis Cynthia Gianni Sayadi has banned the holding of motorcades and noise barrage in welcoming the Eid'l Fitr celebration. He said these practices are not in accordance with the teachings of Islam. Gianni Sayadi has instructed all officials of the city 37 barangays to strictly implement the order. Some 7 million people die yearly from air pollution based on a report by the United Nations. David Boyd, the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights and the Environment, said about 90% of the world's population breathe polluted air. He said every 5 seconds, someone dies of complications brought by air pollution. Among the 7 million who die each year, 600,000 are reportedly children. Boyd urged nations to beat air pollution to fulfill their human rights obligations. He said, failing to ensure clean air is a violation of the rights to life, health, and well-being, as well as the right to live in a healthy environment. He noted that there are success stories of countries drastically reducing air pollution. The United Nations is commemorating World Environment Day on Wednesday, June 5th. And in sports, the Philippine Wushu Taolu team left for Fujian, China on Sunday to start their 5-month training for the Southeast Asian Games. Cordilleran Wushu player Daniel Parantak announced their departure Sunday, along with fellow Cordillerans Thornton Lusayan and Jones Inso, Agatha Wong, and 5 other juniors. The players will undergo a 5-month training with Chinese master Li Qiang for the finer points of Wushu's form side. Parantak is a 2013 and 2015 SEA Games gold winner who took the silver in the Taijijuan event of the 2014 Asian Games in Incheon, South Korea. Multi-gold winner Divine Wally and newbie Gideon Padua, who will comprise the combat side of the discipline or Sanda, will train at the Wuhan University in Hubei at a later date. They are also set to see action in the 15 World Wushu Championship scheduled on October 19 to 23 in Hong Kong. And with all the many wearable devices or mobile apps that set the daily step goal at 10,000, a study on older women showed that 7,500 steps could be enough. The study, published on Wednesday in the journal JAMA International Medicine, showed that older women who took 4,400 steps per day had lower mortality than those taking 2,700 steps. Risk of death continued to decrease with more steps up to 7,500 steps per day before leveling off. Researchers of the Brigham and Women's Hospital analyzed more than 16,000 women with an average age of 72. They found that participants in the bottom 25% of steps who walked an average of 2,700 steps per day were at greatest risk of death, with 275 women dying, and those who walked modestly more with average of 4,400 steps per day were at 41% lower risk of death. The death risk continued need to drop with more steps walked, up to 7,500 steps per day. We hope these findings encourage us to walk every day. In Baguio City, parents and guardians are reminded to keep school children dry by bringing rain gear amid heavy downpour in the afternoon. Pagasa is yet to declare the start of the rainy season, but Baguio City has been experiencing cold weather and continuous downpour in the afternoon. Meanwhile, let's check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
President Duterte certifies as urgent the bill implementing mandatory ROTC training in senior high school. The latest SWS survey shows 44% of Filipinos claim to be very happy in the first quarter of 2019. A task force in Davao shuts down 14 suspected fraudulent investment schemes. And Filipino Muslims prepare for a grand celebration signaling the end of Ramadan on June 5.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.